So when I was younger and got my first real job, I was working third shift at a juvenile residential facility. And my job was simple. Every 15 minutes, we check on the residents, make sure they were okay, and initial the logbook. And I worked with an older gentleman named Mr. Slater, who had mastered working third shift. He would do his checks, come back to the desk, sit straight up in the chair, and go to sleep. And the impressive part about that is that if security walked in, somehow he'd wake up looking like he'd been working the whole time. The man was a professional sleeper. Well, one night I showed up exhausted, just bought my brand new car. And instead of sleeping that day, I spent the entire day driving around and showing my car off to my friends, my girlfriend, of course, and anybody that was willing to take a look at it. So by the time I got to work, I was done. So after everybody left, I made the decision that can only be explained by my youth and stupidity. I found the linen closet, put some sheets and blankets on the floor, and I went to sleep. Not just dozing off, not just resting my eyes, I was out. Around 3 a.m., security came through. Now, normally they check the log and then they just leave. Unfortunately for me, the security guy, Mr. Anderson, was training a new security officer that night, so he decided to do a thorough inspection. He asked Mr. Slater, where's Mr. McCauley? Now, this was Mr. Slater's opportunity to be a good friend. He could have said, he's in the bathroom, he's anywhere but where I was. Instead, Mr. Slater said, I think he's somewhere in the back hallway. So everyone walks back there. Mr. Anderson stops and says, I don't see him anywhere, but I hear snoring coming from that closet. So they opened the door, and there I was, sprawled out over the blankets, clothes wrinkled up, probably drooling, looking like I had signed a lease to live in there. Mr. Anderson said, Mr. McCauley, get up. I opened my eyes and saw the three people standing over me, and all I could think was, this fool really brought them straight to me. Mr. Anderson told me that the incident would be reported, and I knew what that meant. It meant I was getting fired. So I spent the rest of the night waiting for 6 a.m. and the consequences for my actions. But just before the shift ended, Mr. Anderson came back. He looked at me and asked, is that your new car outside? I said, yes, sir. He paused for a second, took a deep breath, and then he said, I'm going to give you a break. I'm not going to report this, but don't ever let it happen again. And I never let it happen again. So looking back on that, I understand that moment really differently now. That was grace. I deserved whatever those consequences were going to be. Someone simply chose not to let a bad decision determine what happened to me next. And when I look across my life, that wasn't the only time. And most of us have had moments like that. A mistake that could have cost us more, a door that somehow stayed open for us, a person who gave us another chance. We like to tell the story of our lives through hard work and talent and good decisions, and those things may be correct, but if we're paying attention, there was probably some grace along the way too. So appreciate it, learn from it, and don't waste it. And when you have the opportunity, make sure to be the person that extends that grace to someone else on their journey.